this lesson, we'll discuss about human health and diseases. So, uh, let's first understand the definition of health. So, health is the state of mind and body controlled by the four humours: that's blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. So, blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. That's the basic definition of health. That's the state of mind and body controlled by the four humours: blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. Now, according to WHO, that's the World Health Organization, the definition of health. The definition of health is state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. This is the definition of health according to WHO, that's the World Health Organization. State of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Now, some ways to stay healthy is good food. One of them is good food. Next, physically active. Staying fit and active. And good hygiene, good hygiene, and exercise. So physically active and fit, that's exercise. This is the basic definition of health. Now let's take a look at the different types of diseases. So, different types of diseases. The first classification is on the basis of the duration of the disease. On the basis of duration. So there's two types of diseases on the basis of the duration. The first one is acute diseases and chronic diseases. Acute diseases are short-term diseases, and chronic diseases are long-term diseases. Example of an acute disease is cold or cough, cold and cough. Chronic diseases, an example is TB, which is tuberculosis. So acute and chronic. Tuberculosis. Acute and chronic. Acute, short-term diseases, the diseases which last for short period of time. Chronic, long-term diseases, lasts for long periods of time. TB, tuberculosis, and acute cold and cough. The next classification is on the basis of infection or the spread of the disease. The first one is infectious. The next one is non-infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are the diseases which which can spread easily. Non-infectious diseases are the diseases which do not spread. They don't spread easily. An example of an infectious disease, is cholera, and an example of non-infectious disease is diabetes. And diabetes is a lifestyle disease. It's a lifestyle disease. So this is the next classification. It's on the basis of the infection. There's infectious and there's non-infectious. Infectious diseases are the diseases which spread really easily. Example is cholera. And non-infectious are the ones which do not spread easily, and that's diabetes, a lifestyle disease. For example, if a person got cholera and he or she spreaded the cholera disease to a healthy person, then the healthy person might also get cholera. But in this case, in non-infectious diseases, diabetes, that's a lifestyle disease. So if a person got diabetes, the healthy person might not get diabetes. So it's not spreadable and it's not infectious. That's what we can say. So they do not spread easily. That's diabetes. That's just an example. Now let's take a look at the third type of classification, and it's congenital and aqueous. Congenital diseases are the diseases from birth. They are born with their diseases, and aqueous is after birth. The congenital diseases are the ones which are formed during birth or from birth, and aqueous are the ones after birth. Example of congenital disease: Down syndrome. And an example of aqueous is aqueous, and they can be infectious diseases or non-infectious diseases. So this can come under both of these types, so infectious and non-infectious. This is the third type of classification. The fourth type of classification is on the basis of causative agents. Causative agents. The first one is bacterial. Next one is viral. The next one is protozoan. The next one is helminth. These are the four types of diseases on the basis of causative agents. For example, bacterial diseases, we can take tuberculosis. So it's TB, tuberculosis, that's the chronic disorder that we talked about before. And that's caused by the Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria. In case of viral, we can take AIDS. That's the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. In protozoan, we can take malaria by Plasmodium. the protozoan Plasmodium. In helminths, Ascariasis. These are the 4 types of diseases on the basis of causative agents: bacterial, viral, protozoan, and helminth. So, on the basis of duration, we have acute and chronic, that's short-term diseases, and long-term diseases. Example is cold and cough. Tuberculosis is chronic disorder. On the basis of infection, we have infectious one, which is cholera. Non-infectious one is diabetes, which is a lifestyle disease. And we have congenital and aquarius. So congenital is from birth and aquarius is after birth, the diseases which are formed after birth. Next, on the basis of causative agents, we have bacterial, that's bacteria is the main causative agent. Viral, virus is the main causative agent. Protozoan, that's the protozoa, the main causative agents. And helminth, that's Ascariasis. So these are some examples of these 4 different types of diseases. Now let's take a look at some of the important terms related to this chapter. So the first term is called etiology. This is the first term that we'll discuss about. Etiology is the cause of the disease. Cause of the disease. Different causative agents of the disease. That's the etiology of a disease. Now, we talked about this earlier. The first one is biological. This can include bacterial diseases, viral diseases, protozoan diseases, fungal diseases, this is one more, helminth diseases, etc. So there's loads of them. The first one is biological disease. The next one is physical agents, physical type of disease. And the physical is, it can be by heat, cold, and if there's lots of heat, you could get sunstroke, we can say heat stroke. If there's cold, you could get frostbites. The next one, the next type of agent, the next cause of the disease is chemical agents. The next one is mechanical agents. So we have chemical agents and mechanical agents. We also have nutritive agents. This is the malnutrition. So if there's not many vitamins and minerals available in our body, we could get some kind of diseases. So it's malnutrition, less nutrients. So this is what etiology is. Etiology is the cause of the disease, and we have biological, physical, chemical, mechanical, and nutritive. Etiology. The next one is called epidemiology. Epidemiology. This is the next term. Now, what's the meaning of this? This is how a disease is spread. The spread of the disease. Spread of the disease, or the transmission of the disease. This is what epidemiology is. Now, different types of these diseases are direct and non-direct, or we can say indirect. Indirect. So we have direct and indirect. So direct diseases is from an infective person to a healthy person, whereas indirect diseases is through the transmission is through some kind of carrier, like insects or something like that. So we have direct and indirect. So direct and indirect. Direct diseases is from infective to a healthy person. Indirect diseases is through some carrier. Some examples of direct diseases: sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. There's AIDS, HIV, some kind of contagious diseases. Contagious diseases. These are some examples of direct diseases. Examples of indirect diseases: example, malaria. It's through some kind of insect, female anopheles, and cholera. This is by the polluted water and food. So these are different kinds of diseases, direct and indirect. Direct diseases, example, STDs, AIDS, HIV, some contagious diseases, and that's direct contact, like it's from infective person to a healthy person. Indirect is through some kind of carrier, like for example malaria and cholera. So this is about epidemiology, and in this lesson we've talked about diseases, we've talked about the main definition of health and different types of diseases on the basis of different things, and we've also looked at the two important terms, etiology and epidemiology.